I want to show you something that reps on teams like ours are doing every week. So let's say you got a list of target accounts. You need to turn that into a list of real people, get the data that you need on them, figure out who in your network can get you in the door, and actually send the ask. Normally that process takes like 4 or 5 tools and a lot of manual digging. I'm going to do the whole thing in one tool, Clay, with the Swarm baked in, and I'm going to show you 3 different ways to run this. We're going to start with I don't even have a Swarm account yet and move that to I've already fully activated my network. Easy, medium, and hard mode. Let's share screen now. Okay, so here's where every version of this easy, medium, hard mode, this is where it all starts. I'm going to upload my target account list here. And let's say it's 10 companies that I want to break into this quarter. I'm uploading this list, complete import, and I'm dropping that into a fresh Clay table. First step is completely standard. I'm going to run Clay's enrichment so that I can find the actual people at these companies that I want to reach. I'm going to filter for a specific title. As you can see, I'm looking for VP of sales there at each of these 10 accounts. So Clay is going to go in and find me some real names, real titles, and their LinkedIn URLs. This part is just Clay doing what Clay does, but this is the foundation that everything else is going to sit on. So it's worth showing the full process that I'm using. Yeah, within a couple minutes, I have all of these people that I can check into. The first way to find warm leads into this list requires nothing extra. You don't need a Swarm account. You don't need to set up Swarm, none of that. This is what the Swarm likes to call crawl mode, and it's literally the easiest thing possible. So I'm going to tools over here, and I'm going to search for the Swarm in this enrichment library. And so you see here, there's 2 actions you can take. So find warm intros to a company or find warm intros to a person. To a company is broader and gives you more results. And to a person, it's more precise, but you're going to get fewer matches. I'm going to go ahead and run the person level one since I already have named leads. So all I need to do is give the company domain. There's no account and no API key required now, but the Swarm is automatically going to map when that company has employees who have work or education overlaps with people at my company. So at this point, it's only looking for shared employers or shared schools. There's not any LinkedIn connections required yet. And one honest caveat before I run this, the first time that you map a new domain out, there's about a 2 to 3 hour wait while the Swarm builds that initial map. After that, it's instant, but for this example, I warmed up the domain earlier today to save some time. Okay, so here we go. Out of my 10 accounts here, I have 3 warm relationships that I've found. Typical hit rate at this tier is somewhere between 3 and 10%. So, I mean, for 10 leads, we're at 30% right now. That overlap is higher if the company's larger since there's more employees to pull from and more chances for there to be an overlap. There was 0 setup and I already found 3 warm paths that I otherwise would not have known of. So let's go up to the next level of difficulty. So now to go into walk mode, I need an actual Swarm account. So let's go to the swarm.com. They have a 14-day free trial, so this costs me nothing to test. So if you just want to try this out, go for it. The crawl mode only looks at my company's employees, and we obviously know that a company's network is much more than just their employees. It's also, their investors, their advisors, their partners, etc. Once I'm in the actual Swarm app, what I can do is add passive connectors, which is basically they're not actively in the Swarm all the time, but the Swarm does have access to their network. So basically, I can add all of our investors in there. I can add our champions, our customers into another section. And so these are people that are happy to share their network with us. Then I'm going to grab my API key from the Swarm and I'm going to connect my account here. So I've connected my account. So notice how much the hit rate has changed. I actually have 6 relationships that I've found now. That's up from what I had before. And so this is a 60% success rate here. There's meaningfully more matches here, but I do want to say that typically you're going to return somewhere between 10 to 20% range, depending on how strong that connector network is. The reason this one is so small is because I know the exact companies that I'm entering here, and I know that we do have connections to these companies. So this right here is worth doing, even if you go no further than this. You get 14 days for free on the Swarm and 15 to 30 minutes of setup, and then you get all of these extra hits. I think it's pretty cool. Now let's go into the version of this that finds the most paths, but it takes the most setup. This is the run mode, and this is fully activating the network instead of just passively mapping it here. So here's the difference. Instead of knowing that a connector might know someone based on like a shared employer or the school they went to or something like that, you can invite connectors to actually connect their accounts to the Swarm. And so that's either through the Chrome extension, which you can see here, you can install that, or they can upload a CSV, so they can export their LinkedIn connections and upload it as a CSV so you can see those relationships. Optionally, you can also import Google Contacts and Calendar, so we can see if you're messaging somebody a lot. That means that you're probably kind of close to them, versus if you're not messaging people a lot, then you're probably not a very strong connection. This helps to unlock some real relationship data. We can see actual LinkedIn connections, actual email and calendar interaction history, and that's on top of the shared school or shared employer information that we have from before. There's even a version of this that doesn't require your connectors to sign up for anything. You can upload a LinkedIn CSV on their behalf, or you can let them upload it and they don't have to create a full account. So let's run the same list one more time with these active connectors in place. And this is the real ceiling where it's fully activated. This tier can land you somewhere between 20 and 50% hit rates, just depending on how quality that network is. Look how many more rows lit up. Cool. So these are the same leads that I started with, and there was 3 very different outcomes, just depending on how much of the network is actually switched on in that case. So our hit rate does matter, but a list of check marks here, it's not very useful unless we know how to turn it into something we can actually act on. For every match that I have the connector's name, so I know who exactly in my network can make that intro. And I've also got the relationship type, so whether it's a LinkedIn connection, work, whatever, and a strength or confidence score on the relationship itself. I'm gonna go do 2 things to this table to make it usable for myself. First, I'm gonna filter that a warm intro was found. So I'm hiding everything that doesn't have a match because I only want to look at real opportunities. Second, I'm going to sort by the connector name instead of by the lead. If you see one person on our team, Alex, can actually make introduction to 7 different people across 4 target accounts, that's one conversation with Alex, and it's not 7 separate conversations. And this is kind of the whole point of relationship intelligence. A path existing is useful on its own. Knowing the highest leverage person to talk to first and knowing exactly what to ask them for, that's what makes it actionable. Now, the last step is data sitting in the spreadsheet doesn't actually lead to a meeting, so I need to send something. So for each match, I'm going to draft a short forwardable note. This is the actual message that my connector is going to send to my target account. So it can't be something vague. It has to make sense, and it has to land in their inbox. So something like, hey Max, I remember you're speaking about getting more warm intros for the team. Reina has been helping teams map their network with the swarm on Clay. Worth a chat. So that's ready to copy and paste. There's no extra work on my connector's end. And so Clay can actually take this further too. I can connect this table out to a sales engagement tool, and I can queue up the intro requests or LinkedIn messages and let the whole thing run as a pipeline instead of a manual task. So that's the full loop from start to finish. My target account list is in. Real people have been found. Warm paths have been mapped at whichever tier fits where I am, free and instant, mid setup with a trial account, or fully activated. Intelligence is read out in a way that tells me exactly who to talk to first, and we have an actual forwardable ask sent. If you want to try this for yourself, there's a Clay managed version that you can test with 0 setup today, and everything there scales as far as you want to take it. I'll link the integration and the full setup guide down below. See you in the next one.